Now, you said something about men need women to survive. What makes you say that?
I mean, I just feel that.
You feel that?
Yeah.
Merch.
I mean, you
Okay.
can't
What is your evidence for that?
How are you born?
that. And also,
That's
like,
procreation, and you do science.
From?
All right.
But that's two different things.
Hold on. She made the claim that they need them to survive, which implies they're already alive. So the whole concept of them needing the man, they're already alive. So I'm asking you, what evidence do you have that men need women to survive?
I mean, you need your mother. That's how you
That's
got
right.
here.
Again, it's about surviving, which implies you're already alive.
Yeah.
So how do men need women to survive?
So imagine you're in a plane and it crashes on the island.
I don't want to imagine it.
I mean,
Okay, let me go ahead and
Hypothetically.
let me
Can we
let me
finish
just
the intro? We got
let me-
one more.
no, let me just prove.
One more.
Let me just prove how ridiculous that is, because a lot of women say stupid shit like that. That men need women to survive. Men don't need women to survive. Women, on the other hand, need men to survive. If the power went out right now, you would need to rely on a guy to protect you from the elements.
No,
That's not
Right.
true.
From another
really?
guy.
No.
maybe.
That's not true.
No.
No. Turn lights off.
No, never mind.
Turn lights off.
No, wait.
Okay. Can you tell me how that's not true?
I just don't feel like that's true.
never
You're
mind.
saying women can't defend themselves, like if the lights were to go off?
Yeah.
That's not true.
Okay. Are you aware of the fact that the reason why human beings have been able to last as long as we've had is because women depend on men for protection and provisioning, and then the man goes out, hunts, kills the animal, brings it back for the woman and her children.
Yeah.
This is why men are supposed to be protectors and providers. It's how we've survived for
Right.
thousands of years as human beings. It was based on this principle. But since we live in a civilized world with electricity and technology,
Internet.
women tend to forget that the only reason why you live in a safe, comfortable first world experience is because men allow that to happen. But if we were to turn off the power and the water, you would need a man immediately to protect you from the elements.
I was a Girl Scout.
And
I know how to build a fire.
And just
Wait,
to,
I know how to
just to
change
give
a
you
tire.
guys more proof as to how much women need men to survive, because it's funny that you said that when it's actually the other way around. They did Bear Grylls,
Yeah,
right?
that's what I
Survivor show, where they had men on an island and women on an island.
Separately.
The women had to get saved by the crew because they were going to die.
Yeah.
They basically couldn't get a fire. They couldn't hunt animals. They were arguing with each other about killing
What did
animals.
the woman look
They didn't want to.
I have to see these women.
We have to see what the woman looked like.
Ladies, let me finish. They couldn't build a shelter. They couldn't start a fire. They were fighting with each other about killing an animal for food. They couldn't get clean water. However, with the men, they were able to build shelter quickly. They were able to establish a hierarchy of who's going to be the boss and make things happen. They were able to hunt. Basically, they were able to spread their resources. Some guys built, with the guys that were carpenters or had that background were building a house. The other guys went out to hunt. Other guys went and cleaned the water. They were able to divide and conquer and basically create a civilization. But the women, anarchy. They couldn't get anything done.
Yep.
And the cast, the crew, had to come in and rescue them from dying.
I feel like it depends on the group of girls you said.
No, but it's these girls were actually like professionals in terms of like hunting, mountain climbing. So they knew they were professionals in terms
That's
of.
not
I thought it was
survival.
I thought it was a
No,
random
No,
group
no,
of
no. There's actually
girls.
girls actually was in their career, but they couldn't do it because it's like, okay, this girl was bitching about killing the pig because it was so cute.
Oh
You know
my
what
god.
I'm saying?
Okay, I
So-
no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the point I'm trying to make is that women actually can't survive without men, but men can absolutely survive without women. So it's the other way around.
Isn't it the same point you made that is about strength? Like, yeah, if a man is stronger, then he's gonna survive more.
Yeah.
But are you saying that women are like not needed for anything?
Right. So I agree
that's
with
not what you're
you.
saying.
I agree with everything you're saying, but I do believe that men and women have different roles.
Yeah.
And yes, what you're saying is true because biologically speaking, men were created to lead. They were created to protect and provide, like you said, and women were created for different
Nurturing.
aspects, right? Like nurturing,
Yeah.
taking care of a home,
Yeah.
making a meal, whatever the man provides, the woman multiplies, right? So I believe that, yes, what you're saying is absolutely true, but you
Yeah.
can't compare one with the other because we both have different roles.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she made the specification saying that men need women to survive. That's not true.
Yeah.
Well, I
each
think
other.
we need
No,
each
we
other.
don't even need you guys.
Okay.
You don't.
Well,
Well, that I can agree with.
Because, ladies, are you aware of the fact that, like, all of human infrastructure, lights, energy, everything else, it's run by men?
Sewage.
Right,
90%
you're
of the
right.
infrastructure of the first world is run by men. Women don't go into these jobs of sanitation, electricity,
Yeah.
Okay, but
creating power.
you're talking about
They
a
do,
grown
it's
adult,
just not
okay?
any other
Hold on.
part.
Let me
Yeah.
make a point. You're talking about a grown adult. What happens when a man or a boy is raised without a mother? What type of man does he grow up to be?
He's
So
separate.
you do need a woman to raise a kid, a child.
Well, if we're going to be honest here, single fathers actually do better than single mothers.
Not always.
But the
The
majority
majority of
does.
the times they do.
What are the statistics on that?
Comes from the book The Rational Male Religion, where he basically breaks this down. Single fathers end up producing more, what's the word, productive children that don't become criminals, drug addicts, and all the other
Because
degenerative stuff from
most of the
single
guys
motherhood.
right now, they were raised without a father.
They might not get the same love, but they absolutely end up
that's
becoming
true.
better members of society.
Well, yes, I mean, having a father is absolutely important because a father is what gives a child identity.
Structure.
So, yes, so if a
Identity.
child grows up without a father, then they lack identity, and that's why they
Structure.
get lost, and that's why they go into things that they shouldn't go into. But it doesn't mean that.
Okay,
having
let
a
me just say
mother
what
is-
everyone is thinking, that everyone is scared to tell women. You guys are only really useful for reproduction, nothing else, okay? I'm going to be very honest here. If it weren't for reproduction, no one would give a fuck about women, being honest. Because everything you guys can do, we can do better. It's really only reproduction that makes you guys valuable, okay? Because you guys can't fend for yourselves. You're vulnerable for the 9 months that you carry a baby, so therefore we must produce and protect you. This is why women look for men that are stronger, more capable, smarter, earn more income. Your entire attraction strategy and your mating strategy is predicated on finding someone superior to you to protect you.
Yeah.
And that is because you hold children. That is your main agency. Now, if women don't want to accept this, that's fine. But the reality is, we break it down to biological needs. Women really only serve one purpose: to repropagate society through children. That's it. If you guys weren't able to produce children, you guys would be fucking useless.
Yeah, I mean,
But that's if you only
they dumped
care
their man
about
because the man was weak.
Because men have to actually
Right,
men have to provide value to society in other ways besides, because this is the thing with women. When you guys look for a man, you don't look for just him being attractive. You want to be a certain height, certain amount of income,
Money.
certain competence, status.
Masculine.
All of this stuff matters. So in other words, if we're failing in one thing, let's say the guy's ugly,
Yeah.
he could make up for it
Shot fresh.
by being tall enough. He could make up for it by having money. But if you don't have a vagina and you can't have kids, you're fucking useless.
Yeah, pretty much.
But that's if you
This is
only
just
look.
crazy.
How many of you guys have
everybody-
you had to keep a guy around without sex? Yeah, okay.
Everybody looks for a different
single, you're
thing
single, though.
in relationships,
single.
though.
Yeah.
And the thing is like
I
no
have
one
healthy relationships with
no
men.
one wants to tell
Healthy
women the
relationships
truth.
with us.
No one wants to tell women the truth that, honestly speaking, outside of sex, you guys are fairly useless.
I feel like that's your personal checklist. That's what you feel like.
Do you not make a living off of what I'm talking about?
Yeah, but I also
Gotcha, bitch.
have love.
You do understand that your entire industry is predicated off what I just said.
They jack
Right.
off to your photos
I'm not
and
saying you're
videos.
wrong. I'm
Miss
not
Foursome.
saying you're lying. I'm not saying you're the only one either.
What?
But it's just like speaking like that, like
Yeah,
no,
yeah, you're still talking about.
everybody just wants to impregnate you and nothing else. Women are valuable in other ways. If you don't see it, that's okay. But
Okay,
that's not everybody's
So what other
opinion.
way outside of having babies then?
Well, the nurturing part. If you only care
Outside of babies.
right? I'm not talking about the baby. If you only care about building and like getting money and stuff like that, all
But
right.
who teaches you how to build?
Men.
Well, if you
Your
care
teachers-
about,
all your
I don't
teachers
know,
were
a
men.
hug after a
Yes.
long day of work or
Like,
a
men can
meal.
do all
You
that.
never had
or
a
all
female
that.
teacher.
About what?
Anything.
Yeah, but
Math, science,
what he's saying,
reading.
men can do it also too, but better. Because we actually have to make money off of these things. We can't just be pretty and say, you know what, I'm done teaching. I'm just gonna go and find a husband and have a good life. Because most of the girls that you probably teach right now, they into degrees, but you know what, they stop what they're doing and they fucking get into families. So men have to use a degree to make money. Because if we're broke, you guys won't date us. So we
That's
have to make
true.
shit happen.
But women have degrees too.
I know, but they don't use it after they finish. Like, if they get bored or if they think times it's tough, they just fucking quit and just get into a family.
That's
and
not
shit.
everybody.
All right, first of all,
everybody.
you quit
No,
sports. You quit sports.
You can't.
Y'all
You
single.
can't use me
You know
as
what
an
I'm saying? It's
example.
like-
But you can't use me as an example because I quit for a good reason. I can't explain it to you.
You don't
now.
work. You don't work. You don't Miami. Like, you know, it's like,
I
it's
work.
topless.
I don't work because I'm trying
Like,
to
how do you
graduate.
make your money? How are you traveling? Who's paying for
I'm not
this?
working because I'm trying to get into PA school. So what are you talking about?
No, it doesn't matter. Like, you're here
Yes,
right
it
now
does.
in Miami, though.
Okay.
Like, I couldn't be out broke and on a
But
podcast.
who said I'm broke?
Okay, so how you make money?
That doesn't matter.
Okay. you
It's
don't
no
wanna
one's
tell me.
business.
All
I
right.
gotta be the one. to say Bye.
I mean, you're one thing, right? But half the girls on their panels don't even fucking work.
I wish.
I do.
I mean, you do sex work. It doesn't count.
It's work.
Ladies,
I sweat.
you guys are look, how do we get, so number one, I think we established that men are better than women at sports, and physically we're better than you guys in every regard. We established that. Then we talked about, do men need women to survive? I think I established and proved my point that we don't. Men are able to build homes and fend for themselves against the elements, etc. Then my third point was that really the only value women provide to society is reproduction and bringing in kids. Now, some of you guys don't like this, but it's true, and I'll give you an example. You could quit your sport. You could quit your sport. Will it affect your status on campus? No. Men will still talk to you. You'll still be found attractive. You'll still have sexual opportunities with the opposite gender. But if a man quits his sport and loses that status, it affects his ability to get sexual access. So what I'm trying to say here is that a woman's status or income or a title means nothing. But a man's income and status means everything.
I agree.
Okay, so that comes back to my argument that women's only commodity and main commodity is her sexuality, which is tied to reproduction. Outside of that, no one cares. And then the fact that she's an OnlyFans and is able to build a career on it,
Yeah.
and I'm not saying that to shit on her.
No,
I'm
yeah.
just saying that she's able to have that. The fact that she's in that industry proves my point that a woman's primary agency is her sexuality, and they're even able to monetize on it. I can't monetize my sexuality.
I mean, you can.
Millions of
You can.
followers.
You
No, I
can.
can't.
You
I
could.
can't.
You can't.
You look good.
Realistically speaking, I would never be able to monetize my sexuality to the same degree as an average-looking girl.
Yeah.
Men are not able to monetize their sexuality to the same level.
Well,
Maybe 1% of guys can do it.
Male
But
actors actually make a lot of money. Like some
But
make
they
way
still
more.
get paid less than
Yeah,
female
still get
actors.
paid less.
Really?
Yes, way
Oh,
less.
okay.
Way less.
I thought like gay fans were like paying more.
Gay.
Not
Well-
the fans, because they're paying for a man. So
Well, that
gay men will pay more.
yeah, that's fine. But the point I'm trying to make is that from a female perspective, your main agency is sexuality, because that's what men are interested in. Of course, a gay guy who cares about sex is going to be looking at dudes, but it doesn't change the fact that a woman's main agency is her sexuality.
And he's not gonna pay. Like a gay guy is not gonna pay for another guy.
Like, put it this way.
Oh yeah, they do.
If all of you guys,
lot.
right, were homeless, let's assume worst case, you have $0 in your bank account and you guys were all homeless. You guys can all find a date and have no problem with finding a man. But if we were homeless, we'd have some serious fucking problems with
Yeah,
attracting the
right.
opposite gender. That's what I'm trying to establish here.
Yeah, that's right.
valid.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's valid.